Monday, March 2, 3 cards for the energies in play today, and I'm using the Rider-Waite deck today. Here's your first card, Three of Swords. If you're an empath, this card is talking to you. The Three of Swords is what happens when we are permeable, when we are open to all of the experiences and all of the emotional movements that are available, both in our own psyches, in our own bodies, and in the environment around us. So these swords piercing the heart tell us that we are collecting these energies and processing them on behalf of other people as well as ourselves. The past 2 days we have had the Nine of Wands or the Nine of Rods come up twice, which is a weariness with boundary tending. Three of Swords is what happens when we stop tending those boundaries, for good and for bad, because in addition to all of the joy that we're able to now allow to inhabit us, we are also at risk of being colonized by things like negativity, other people's grief, the pain at large in the greater world. And with what's going on in the Middle East right now, it's not surprising that this card would come up to remind us that permeability is something that is both a blessing and a curse. Just like all of awakening, once you're open to everything that's happening and you're seeing clearly, as opposed to dwelling in the narratives and using those as a protective shield over direct experience, we have a much higher burden of emotional energy to navigate. So this is a learning experience. How do we handle this emotional energy? And how do we develop the skills to navigate it successfully and with great discernment? Meanwhile, the number 3 implies an opportunity for growth through expansion and interaction. You can take this as a challenge to just see how much you can hold, to really sit with it and allow it to inform you and do some inquiry into what is this telling me about myself, my way of interacting with the world, and get curious about those movements internally. It takes a lot of courage to do this. This is a big part of the process of spiritual development, to be able to really hold all of it. My advice would be to practice self-care. And if you do choose to really sit with these things and absorb them, imagine them passing through you as opposed to taking up residence. It's possible to visualize yourself as being transparent and allow the energies that are coming up to simply move through, and you can notice them and you can honor them, acknowledge them, and ask yourself how they inform you about your own world, and then let them go. Let's see what the next card has to say about all this. And the next card gives us the Devil. Intense. And you know, I'm reminded that there's a blood moon eclipse coming up tomorrow, which is March 333, so you can add in all of those energies as well. This is going to be kind of an intense couple of days for some of us. The Devil is our shadows, our attachments, our misconceptions at times about what is nourishing to us versus what is not. You'll notice, especially in this card, that the chains around the necks of the 2 figures in the card are loose enough that they could slip them off if necessary. So the 3 implies that we should be paying attention to what is permeating us right now. And the Devil tells us that that's going to point to our shadows. When we notice where the discomfort is, when we notice where the awkwardness is, and the pain, the grief, those really potent feelings rising up are going to show us where our attachments and our misconceptions are, where our shadows are speaking, and they want to be acknowledged and integrated. And I have to laugh because the male figure in this card, he has a tail which is on fire at the very end. I don't know if you can see it behind me, but someone has literally lit a fire under his ass. The male gender is feeling a lot of that right now. They're having to do a lot of hard inner work. So this can be a collective signifier as well as a personal one, an individual one. And final thing about the Devil card, notice how ridiculous this figure is. He's dressed up, he's trying to look scary, but he really just kind of looks a little bit pathetic, a little bit like he's trying so hard, but he just doesn't have the grasp on these 2 figures that he would like to. He's perched on this ridiculous, it's not even a throne, it's just like a bird perch. So the darkness is never quite as scary as we think it's going to be if we're really willing to encounter it. Courage is needed, but at the end of the day, we find that so much of this is the mental narratives, the structures implied by the swords. So much of our fear is rooted in stories that we're telling ourselves about things rather than the things themselves. That's not to say there aren't scary things in the world and that we should be cautious, but we should be aware of how much of our storytelling exaggerates threats. Next card. And our last card for today is a beautiful Ace of Cups. The intensity you're feeling is not random. Once we do this hard inner work, there is a beautiful outcome. In that, the Ace is pure emotional potential. The cup is overflowing with emotional energy, intuition, possibilities for connection, and just emotional wealth and nourishment. That's what this water implies. You can see that there's new life growing on the surface in the form of these lily pads and lotuses. Anytime you see a lotus in a card, that's like a call out to spiritual processing, spiritual awakening, spiritual development. It echoes the lotus that is at the crown of the head, the place we eventually arrive once we've done all of the hard stuff. So this struggle and this emotional intensity is not for naught. There's a very real purpose behind it, and it is for your own higher good, your own development. And the way the hand is emerging from the cloud, offering up this emotional saturation, means that this is a divine opportunity. This is your birthright as a divine being, as an energetic being in a human body. Your birthright is to have access to these things. Whatever it is that you're unfolding right now internally, whatever shadow work that you're working on, is guiding you to this deeper emotional experience, this wealth of energy that is then yours to irrigate the ground. And notice how it then, once it falls into the water, that becomes a collective field. It's a reminder that everything that we do in terms of our own development spiritually is a net gain for the whole of humanity. We are cells in a body in that sense. Each one of us humans contributes all of our experience to the greater good. So when we evolve, we help the whole evolve. So to sum up our 3-card spread for today, the 3 of Swords, emotional permeability is high. What you're feeling is real, and it's asking for conscious processing rather than avoidance. The Devil tells us that this discomfort is helping us to reveal our attachments, our shadow patterns, and the narratives that are ready to be seen and then released. And the chains are loose. Never forget, this is a matter of participation in the narratives, not that we're actually locked into them. And then the Ace of Cups tells us that doing this inner work is going to expand your emotional capacity, and it opens a new level of intuition, connection, and spiritual renewal. That's it for today. Like, follow, and share. See you tomorrow.